Okay, now in this part of your project, you're adding content now to a new section of your report. That is the discussion section. So because this is the first time that you're writing in your discussion section, I thought it would be appropriate to talk about what you're supposed to write by putting it within the context of the other two sections that you've already been adding to. That is the definition section and the results section. So, the definition section is where you explain and justify your research methods, your steps, and the analysis that's used. So if we look at your definition section, so in my roller coaster example, this is where I put the 5 steps for designing a histogram. So I'm explaining the steps for creating a histogram. Then I defined what a box plot is in the definition section. And here are the different parts of a box plot. So I've explained what a box plot is so that somebody that comes and reads this report and reads the results in the discussion sections, they'll understand what a box plot is and how I'm using it. And then later, we'll add a line of regression as far as the definition. That'll be a part of your report. But that is what the definition section is to explain and justify the steps and maybe terms that you're using, that you're going to be using later in your report. Then the next section is the results section. This is also something that you've already been adding to your report. So we've got a data table, we have descriptive statistics, and the distribution shape of the random variables in your data. So in the results section, this is where you review your findings and compare them to a research question. Your report is a little more limited. So really, this is just where you review your findings. So here in the results section, that's why you put information on your data table. So you didn't put all of your data, just the first 2 rows to kind of explain to the reader the data that you're using. And then the next part, is the descriptive statistics. So descriptive statistics are the mean, the median, and the mode, and the standard deviation of your data. And so here I've got this table with mean, median, mode, and standard deviation for the height variable and for the speed variable. So this belongs in the results section. And then this is where you also put the histograms of your data. So, here's 2 histograms for the height variable, and here are 2 histograms for my speed variable. And then you created box plots. And so here's a box plot for the speed variable, and here's a box plot for the height variable. Okay, so what we've done is added our findings, our results, and that's where it's gone in the results section. In the results section, you want to avoid discussing, explaining, or interpreting the results. So here, when you look at, what I've written about histograms, for example, is I'm basically just describing the picture. I'm not kind of talking about what it means. I'm just describing what it looks like. And the same is true of this speed variable. For the box plot, I also just described these pictures, but I didn't, say anything else as far as maybe what these shapes imply just yet. That's what's going to go in the discussion section. So the discussion section, the purpose of the discussion section is to interpret and describe the significance of your results in relation to what was already known about the research problem being investigated, and to explain any new understanding or insights that emerge as a result of your research. But to simplify that even more, in the discussion section, this is where you get to discuss and explain or interpret your results. So you don't get to do that in the results section, but you do get to do that in the discussion section. So I just put this stuff here because I wanted to talk about it. So now that I've talked about it, I'm going to delete this. And now we're going to add some contents to the discussion section, primarily talking about measures of center. So if we come up here to my descriptive statistics in the results section, okay, so this is where I get to actually kind of talk about these results. So you'll notice here that for the height variable, the mean is 123, the median is 115, and the mode is 108. So notice these numbers are not equal. And in fact, the median is more than the mode, and the mean is more than the median, which is more than the mode. Okay, so this is something that we can talk about. We only reported it in the results section, but now we can kind of talk about this relationship between these three descriptive statistics, these three measures of center in the discussion section. So here, we're going to create a little subsection, and this is going to be called measures of center. And I'm going to put roller coaster, height, and speed. And let's give this a style of heading 2. Okay, that'll make it so it shows up here in our outline. And let's see here, I'm going to kind of copy and paste some text that I kind of pre-made. All right, so measures of center can be used to indicate whether the datums in a random variable are left skewed, right skewed, or symmetrically distributed. For the roller coaster height random variable, the values of the measures of center are in table C. So I don't have to put those values back in. I can just refer to them because I put a caption underneath the table. And if I go back to descriptive statistics, here it says table C. So, that's what I'm referring to here in the discussion, are those values. The following relationship between the mean, the median, and the mode for the height variable is, and now I'm going to explain this relationship. So the mean is greater than the median, and the median is greater than the mode. So what I need to do now is kind of say that mathematically. And to do that, you want to make sure that under the view menu, you turn on show equation toolbar or show non-printing characters. So in Google Docs, I'm going to put new equation, and let's see here. I need to use this. So this will allow me to write a word and have a subscript. So I'm going to say mode of the height variable, and say that that is less than. And let me add that again. The median height variable. And I'm hitting right arrow key to get me out of the subscript position. And then I need to do this again. Okay. Let's see, can I center that? Yeah, let's enter that. Okay. So here I've said the following relationship between the mean, the median, and the mode for the height random variable is the mean is greater than the median, and the median is greater than the mode. So if we come back up here to the results, you can see the mean is greater than the median, and the median is greater than the mode. So this discussion section is the section where you get to kind of explain the results that you found. And so what I want to be able to say about that, let me copy and paste here. So the mean is affected most by extreme values and outliers, while the median is affected least. The mean and the median tend to drift towards the extreme values and the outliers. The above relationship indicates that the height data is skewed to the right. By contrast, the speed random variable had the following measures of center. So we'll talk about that in a second. So, one of the things that you learned about measures of center and a distribution of data is that if the data is distributed symmetrically, all of these will be equal to each other. But if the mean and the median are kind of skewed to one side or the other of the mode, that tells you that the data distribution is skewed one way or the other. And so what I'm discussing here in the discussion section is that these three measures of center, because they have this relationship, they are skewed right. And so this is where I talk about it. Now, I'm kind of looking at two random variables in my data. That was the height. So let's look at the descriptive statistics for my speed random variable. So if I come back up here to my results, and I look at this speed random variable, and we look at the mean, the median, and the mode, they're almost equal. So the mean is 55.4, the median is 55, and the mode is 55. So what I've got here, where I say, by contrast, the speed random variable had the following measures of center relationship. And so I'm going to do something similar to what I did up there. So new equation, and I want to be able to have a word with a subscript. So I'm going to select this option, and I'm going to put in mode, right arrow, speed, oops, right arrow, less than, a word with a subscript, median, right arrow key, speed, oops, right arrow, let's do it again, mean, right arrow, speed. Okay, and let's center all that. There we go. So by contrast, oh wait, it's not greater than, this is about equal, sorry. And this was approximately equal. Do I have something? Oh yeah. Okay, so my median and mode were equal, but the mean was close. So here my mode is 55 and my median is 55. And my mean wasn't quite 55, but it was close. So instead of using equals, I'm going to use this symbol, which is kind of two wavy lines. Okay, that means approximately. So I'm going to use that one. So the mode was equal to the median, which was approximately what the mean was. Okay, so what does that mean? So here, this is where I can say all three measures of center have equal, okay, equal or approximately equal measures of center. Let's see here, which indicates the speed datums are symmetrically distributed. So what I'm discussing here is that the height random variable appears to be skewed to the right because of this relationship between the measures of center, and the speed random variable appears to be symmetrically distributed because of this relationship between the random variables. So, the relationship between these three random variables may be different for you. So you're going to have to adjust your explanation accordingly. For now, just do a discussion for measures of center. Let's see if we can talk about measures of spread later. So for now, just focus on measures of center. So I hope that I've done a reasonably good job of explaining the difference between the definition section, the results section, and the discussion section, so that you kind of understand the context for what we've added here as far as discussing the measures of center of your random variables.